In the previous episode, we explained how we found ourselves eating Icelandic tomatoes with an Icelandic farmer on an Icelandic cart. And after eating some flies too, we got back on our bikes. We're crossing the entire country with electric bikes as a tribute to this country which only needs its own natural resources to be energetically self-sufficient. We'll recharge our batteries thanks to the energy of geothermal power plants that we will visit and swim in. Today we'll cycle for over 120 miles to Svinafelljokull, one of the ice tongues of Eyjafjallajökull, the fourth largest ice cap in the world. We have a long way to go. It isn't easy to cross deserts, but Iceland has a few pleasant surprises for us in the morning. Like Seljalandsfoss, a 200 feet high waterfall. The only thing I can manage to say in these situations is, wow. Left speechless, we get back on our bikes and after a few miles arrive at Skogafoss, another spectacular waterfall.
It was a morning in June when I heard that tune.
This morning we're pedaling under Eyjafjallajökull, the most famous volcano in Iceland, which in 2010 erupted, blocking half of the flights in Europe. And right under this glacier is a heap of debris, a moraine. But we fear nothing, so we cycle right through it. On the way, on a stretch of private land, we find something very intriguing. It's the wreckage of an American military plane which crashed 40 years ago in mysterious circumstances. Since then, the plane has been exposed to the extreme conditions of this country. Now, the place is full of tourists, but are they aware of the thousands of questions no one will ever be able to answer? What caused the accident? Did the crew survive? What happened to the other pieces of the plane? But most of all,
che senso ha avere una proprietà privata in mezzo al deserto?
And tormented by these many questions, we keep going.
Reassuring, Mother Nature's procuring. There's no need for doubt in his mind. And our eyes align.
We're already near Vik, and the promontory on which we're standing is Diroley.
A cup full of time in these orderly ways. Disorderly life, I let go of my head.
We're a few miles from Reynisfjara, the Black Beach. To reach it, we get back on our bikes and cycle down a path.
Io non posso filmare, fare tutto sto lavoro.
Getting to know Icelandic geology so close up is always interesting, but we're pleased to finally get to the beach. This is among the 10 most beautiful non-tropical beaches in the world, which isn't surprising.
We've got a long way down till we're 60 years old. We've got a long way down till we can stand.
But the highlight is the basalt columns, over 50 feet high.
I know your body so well, but I can tell that it's changing.
Our destination, the glacier, is still far away, so we leave the tourists, the columns and the stacks behind and get moving. To get some supplies, we decide, although there isn't much other choice in Iceland, to stop in the nearby town Vik, famous for having a church, a house with glass windows, and some scattered objects. In the supermarket, we managed to charge our batteries, but while shopping, we realize we have a major problem.
Sì, ne abbiamo due grossissimi problemi. Il primo è che non abbiamo spazio sulle bici, quindi dobbiamo sempre razionare tutte le provviste. E il secondo è che non possiamo farlo, quindi si complica anche il primo problema, perché il prossimo posto in cui fare la spesa sarà 200 km. Non te l'avevo detto?
Having to make do with the bare minimum, we leave civilization behind and begin our 60-mile trek across the desert.
Qua mi sembra un buon posto per montare la tenda.
Beh, spazio ce n'è.
Adesso è uscito il sole, perché uno non sembra, dice che sta andando a letto nel pomeriggio, in realtà sono le 8 di sera.
Io ho trovato una soluzione.
And after setting up the tent and getting dinner ready,
Cioè, ma guarda, ma davvero?
Non comprare niente.
Io ho pedalato tutto il giorno. Una mela, una banana.
E io come sono venuto in alto?
we enjoy our sandwiches. Because we're so far north, summer days in Iceland last ages, and nights are simply slightly darker days.
That made your stomach turn today.
After another quiet night, we pack up our tent, get back on our electric bikes, and keep cycling west.
Been too afraid to share my fear.
We're cycling across what I call the Valley of the Elves, given the color and shape of the moss.
There ain't no safer place than here with you, my.
We discover we've crossed one of the largest lava flows in the world. After crossing this peculiar land, we arrive at Eyjafjallajökull, where we admire Glyfur.
Honey, I'm just so afraid. So break the lock on the door if I won't let you in. Shatter your glass on the floor just to show me when.
And before we know it,
Tutto quello che abbiamo davanti è il Svinafelljokull, e quelle che si infilano tra le montagne sono le varie lingue di questo ghiacciaio. Quella là è Svinafelljokull, quella più grande a sinistra, mentre quella a destra dove stiamo andando adesso è Svinafelljokull.
Don't let me stay in my head.
A me sto posto, quanto mi piace, mamma mia.
Getting away unwilling and unknown for so long now.
we're cycling around the Svinafelljokull, one of the biggest ice caps in the world, over 3,000 square miles. Just to give you an idea, that's just under the size of Corsica, a Corsica made of ice. It's one of the most surprising things about Iceland, strong and delicate at the same time. After hours of travel, we get to something that proves my point.
Lungo la strada abbiamo incontrato questa specie di trave tutta sfasciata, che sembra messa così tanto per come una cosa artistica. In realtà racconta una storia molto interessante.
These are the remains of the old Skedara Bridge. There's something interesting about Icelandic volcanoes. Many of them are located under glaciers, and when they erupt, they cause floods. And that's how in 1996 this bridge, which was part of the only Icelandic road, was destroyed. The beams serve as a reminder of how, in Iceland, nature is king.
E viaggiare qua secondo me ti fa riprendere contatto con la realtà e farti stare a posto tuo.
Sei piena di perle di saggezza oggi?
Mi sento ispirato.
With these wise words of wisdom, we hit the road again. I think we're only about 10 miles away from our next destination.
Da qua là? 3 chilometri.
3 chilometri. Saranno almeno una decina.
Ma no.
Sì.
Anyway, we get back on our bikes and cycle for another 10 miles. This promontory opens up the view on Svinafelljokull, one of the tongues of the main glacier. It feels strange to be here, because the forecasts warn that this whole tongue, as well as some surrounding mountains, will collapse in the next few years. And since we've been warned not to spend too much time here, we hit the road again and leave Svinafelljokull. On the way we come across a glacier with floating icebergs and seals, and then eat some rotting shark meat, cycle a very long way, and swim just a few yards from whales. But all this in the next episode.